That is right, baby. Woo! The Lakers close out the Houston Rockets 4-2. Now, we did have a little bit of worries. We did have a little bit of worries when it came to this Lakers team if they were going to be able to close out the Houston Rockets. Everyone was talking about the momentum swinging the Houston Rockets' way because of those games that they had in games 4 and 5. But Lakers didn't panic. The Lakers played to their strengths. The Lakers made adjustments. They held the Houston Rockets to only 78 points. 78 points in that game. That close-out game for the Lakers. Now, we understand what's at hand. The task that is at hand. They have to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder, where the Lakers were 0-4 against them. So we'll definitely have all that good stuff as far as what can the Lakers actually do? What type of defense can they play? Can they match the Oklahoma City Thunder's physicality? Because J.J. Redick, he had some words in regards to Oklahoma City and the way that they defend. But I didn't get a chance to talk to you guys about that closeout game of game number 6. So we're definitely going to talk about that. What I thought was the positives throughout the series for the Lakers and also the negatives and things that they need to correct heading into this round 2 matchup against the OKC Thunder. But you guys already know what I'd like to talk about. One of my favorite casinos, and that is Pechanga Resort Casino. And you can play your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino, the official Native American resort and casino of the Los Angeles Lakers. Skip the traffic. Head on over to Pechanga Resort Casino just off the I-15 in Temecula. Visit pechanga.com or call 888-PECHANGA for reservations and for more information. Now look, I would be lying to you guys, and I'm going to just say it right now. I would be lying to you guys if I have said that the Lakers are going to win that series against the Houston Rockets. Because when the news came out, and we saw how the end of the regular season came out with Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic and then being out of the series against the Houston Rockets. Now, we're very, very fortunate to see Austin Reeves make a return in that series against the Houston Rockets. But I had a lot of concerns heading into that series against the Houston Rockets. And being honest, I did not feel like the Lakers are going to come out on top in that series against the Houston Rockets. And they proved your boy wrong. They really, really did. They proved me wrong to start up those first 2 games. And you were able to get the production needed from Luke Kennard and Marcus Smart. That was a beautiful thing, to seeing them being able to contribute, to provide on the scoring column. Also seeing them being able to defend. Luke Kennard, whether you like it or not, he wasn't really a liability on the defensive end of the floor. I know there were some moments where the Rockets tried to take advantage of that, but overall, thought he did a solid job. Marcus Smart, hell of a job on the defensive end. Some games you got some offensive spark, but the defense and the dog that the Lakers got out of Marcus Smart and him being able to stay healthy, that has been a positive for this Lakers team. And then, let alone, I did not speak more on this man, and I'm very, very, I want to say I'm big on him, but I do feel like this person provides a lot on the offensive scoring column for the Los Angeles Lakers. By the way, he leads the entire NBA in this postseason in 3-point field goal percentage, and that is Rui Hachimura. We got to talk about him a lot more. The fact that he's getting to his spots in the mid-range, the 1-drill pull-ups, and let alone he's knocking down a 3-point ball at a consistent rate. And Rui has been solid on the defensive end of the basketball court. That's right. I'm talking to Greg Bergman. I know you guys we know Bergman wants to see Rui Hachimura not return a Lakers uniform, but to his credit, it has to come at the right price. But Rui Hachimura has been playing very, very well so far in this postseason for the Lakers. And then one guy that I have been really, really skeptical on because of his consistency and his ability to play at a consistent rate for multiple games. Not just one game, and then the following game it's a drop-off. Multiple games. And that is DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton had a really good start to this playoff series for the Los Angeles Lakers. Defending, rebounding, being able, if he's not blocking the shot, at least being there in the spot to contest it, rim running, rolling to the basket. They got most out of DeAndre Ayton in that series. And I know there's one particular game where he did not close out, but other than that, he kept his head up and he was able to do a good job. But more specifically, what were the Lakers missing when you look at last year's playoff series against the Minnesota Timberwolves compared to this playoff series against the Houston Rockets? They're missing a big man. Now, we just hope that DeAndre Ayton can sustain this level of consistency against the Oklahoma City Thunder. But this right here, and I'm glad that we're pulling up these clips. And I want to bring out this stat for you guys, that DeAndre Ayton, do you guys realize that he was held Alperen Sengun, I believe it was 18 out of 35 shooting when he was guarding him? 18 out of 35 shooting for Alperen Sengun when DeAndre Ayton was guarding him. And contesting without fouling. He's actually sliding his feet because Alperen Sengun was trying to take him off the dribble, cut him off, force him to pick up his dribble. If not, having him spin back, then do contested hook shots. Really solid job from DeAndre Ayton in this series as far as what he was able to do on that end of the basketball court. Now, offensively, you have some sparks. Man, 2 games where he was getting doubles, 19 and 17. And then the closeout game, he only had 7 points, but he had 16 rebounds. And being able to, once again, defend really well, keep Alperen Sengun in front, forcing him to be a contested hook shots, and him not being able to get to his spots. I thought the Lakers throughout this entire series defended really, really well. Now, the turnovers, that's a story. The rebounding, that's another story. And the scoring droughts that they suffered in games 4 and 5, that is another story. So we focused on those positives. That in the games you did not have Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic, you got the most out of your role players. You got the most out of Luke Kennard. You got the most out of Marcus Smart. You got consistency out of DeAndre Ayton. You were able to get the scoring from Rui Hachimura, really efficient scoring. And Lakers defense as a team, really, really good job as a unit. Now, the negatives that I saw in that series against the Houston Rockets, and all this is going to tie into what Lakers can't afford to do in this next round against Oklahoma City Thunder. Everything's going to be tied in. So just follow me when I elaborate on this. Now, the negatives. We saw the turnover stories. The turnovers it was awful and it was bad. And the Lakers, they're going to have to find a way to cut those turnovers in half. A lot of those turnovers are just either the Houston Rockets speeding them up, Lakers thinking that they have numbers and trying to get out and run, and not being able to. And when they're out in transition, you don't have the right looks. Guys are not running to the right spots. A lot of confusion. The turnovers were the big story for the Lakers in that series against Houston Rockets. And let's just be honest. And let's just be brutally honest. It's not like the Rockets were in the passing lanes. It's not like the Rockets were funneling them into doing something. It was just self and lack of awareness, what things and moments on the basketball court. Now, the turnovers, as far as LeBron James having a high turnover ratio, Marcus Smart having 6 turnovers in one game. I mean, you can't afford to have that in this series against Oklahoma City Thunder, which we will elaborate more. And we're seeing how LeBron James, I understand, he had to do a lot of things with the ball in his hands. And he also asked him to score. He also asked him to facilitate. He also asked him that he has to be one of the better defenders for this team at the age of 40. We understand that. We understand the task at hand. But he's going to have to find a way to not turn the ball over, as well as Marcus Smart. When you're Marcus Smart and your job now is just get your team set up, get them into the offense, cannot afford high turnovers. And then Luke Kennard, the offense and trying to get him involved and trying to find ways as soon as Austin Reeves return into the mix, Luke Kennard's going to have to find ways to get space. Luke Kennard's going to have to find a way to get a shot up. All those things are going to come into play in this next round matchup against Oklahoma City Thunder. So, talking about the turnovers, the rebound. I will say there was games where the Rockets were out rebounding the hell out of the Lakers. And granted, These Rockets are not making any jump shots. They struggle shooting the rock. But it goes back to in that regular season remember when the Lakers are beating the Knicks? They're beating they beat the Rockets. They're beating the Timberwolves. They're beating the Nuggets. They're beating the Cavaliers. And we try to talk about it was just a bad night for Jalen Brunson. Oh, it was a bad night for Donovan Mitchell. It was a bad night for Anthony Edwards. Oh, Nikola Jokic, yay, but he's not going to have another game like that. And at some point, we really have to turn back and realize it's like, hey, if it's multiple games like this and they're able to sustain this, maybe it's just not those teams having a bad scoring night. Maybe it's just them actually defending the Rock really, really well, which we see that. You held the Houston Rockets team, and I understand they didn't have Kevin Durant, but people will make that argument that the Rockets were probably better off without Kevin Durant, which I don't believe that notion. I believe that the Houston Rockets needed Kevin Durant. I mean, you saw right there in that closeout game where there's no scoring whatsoever. They're missing a guy like him to get to their spots and bailing them out. Just like the Lakers, when there's moments when they have scoring droughts, they needed a Luka Doncic, a step back three late to the shot clock. When their offense has no rhythm, all of a sudden he's bailing them out and making a miraculous shot to cut the scoring drought. The Rockets are missing that. But there was multiple games we saw the Lakers. Those first two games at Crypto.com Arena were, hell, they were barely scoring, hovering around 90 points to the Houston Rockets. And you see game two, Kevin Durant comes back into the lineup, and then what happens is the first half, Kevin Durant got off to a hot start, 20 points. And then J.J. Redick and the coaching staff made the necessary adjustments to where Kevin Durant only had 5 points in that second half of game number two. And he had a lot of turnovers. So the defense was good. Although the Rockets rebounded really, really well, Lakers were still able to find a way to defend. And very, very fortunate that the Rockets did not shoot the ball well throughout the majority of the series. But that's just more of a look on their team as a whole. So it's those two things that got to get corrected when you head up against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Why? Because the way that they are and the way that they're able to defend and that the way that they're able to rebound and the way that they're able to get out of run. Those mistakes that the Rockets made, those same mistakes are not going to happen against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Because you look at their roster and you look how the difference between Oklahoma City's roster and to the Houston Rockets roster is, we talked about it. The Rockets had no scores besides Kevin Durant. They were relying on Amen Thompson to score off the dribble. They were relying on a Jabari Smith Jr., where realistically his game is spot-up shooting, getting to his spots in the mid-range. He gets a small matchup. He likes to get in that mid-post range, shoot over guys. Reece Sheppard, where all of a sudden you're asking Reece Sheppard to be that guy offensively, to create off the dribble, to create his own jump shot, to be a knockdown shooter. But Reece Sheppard is a liability on the other end of the basketball court. And then now you're asking Alfred Sengun, who his bread and butter is off the screen and roll game. And if he does try to take big guys off the dribble, it's trying to find a way to get to the free throw line, which I'm thankful that the refs did not reward Alfred Sengun with that ugly basketball. And by the way, can we just talk about that just real quick before I go back into my point? I am so glad that we do not have to watch that style of basketball anymore. It was really, really frustrating watching Alfred Sengun and the way that he was trying to attack and him throwing his elbows and his body flailing all over the place. Like, bro, you're too damn big to be doing all that. So I'm glad that we don't have to worry about that. But I just went through that roster that the Rockets throwing out. Oh, Tari Eason, by the way, he was not consistent at all with his jump shot. Tari Eason was a 40% three-point shooter heading into the first half of the regular season. All of a sudden, after the All-Star break, Tari Eason forgot how to shoot the basketball. Those things are not going to happen with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, we already know what to expect from him. Mid-range, getting to his spots. The Lakers have to find a way to guard him without fouling. And I know what you guys are probably saying in the YouTube chat, the foul baiting and all that stuff. Also, Reeves elaborated on that, saying that, look, whether you guys call it foul baiting or not, we got to find a way to guard without fouling. And that's going to be one of the biggest stories heading into the series against the OKC Thunder. But you know what you're going to expect out of Shai when you're on the Thunder side. Now, Jalen Williams, depending on what his injury is looking like with that hamstring injury, I know it was a grade 1 hamstring injury. He went out in that series against the Phoenix Suns. Don't know if he's going to be returning into the lineup. There's going to be some news and stuff around that. I'm pretty sure heading into game number 1, which is tomorrow. But if he were to be available, you already know what you're going to get out of Jalen Wins. He can take guys off the dribble, get to his spots. Being able to do that, being able to get to that third lane, kick it out to guys. And then just the way that the roster is that it's nowhere near the Houston Rockets. So those plays and possessions where Lakers are turning the ball over or having scoring droughts, that has advantaged OKC Thunder a lot. And that is where the big difference is heading into this round 2 matchup. But before we get more into this, and I hope you guys are following me when I'm talking about this matchup heading into this against OKC Thunder, it's a big difference. And I'm going to explain more on this other side. But before I do, I have to let my partners at Pachanga give you guys a quick word.
At Pachanga Resort Casino, you can rock and roll, sip and slide, twist and shout. Play your perfect combination at Pachanga Resort Casino, official Indian gaming sponsor of the Lakers.
All right, what is going on? Welcome back to Lakers Talk Daily. The Lakers closed out the Houston Rockets last Friday, 4-2. Lakers advance win. I have to say it again. I did not expect this team to advance in round 2. I'm being genuinely honest. When I saw the news with Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, I must say that I thought the Lakers had no chance of winning the series. I knew that they would probably get 1 or 2. But the moment they took those first 2 games at home, I was like, this is a different series. This is a different series, and this Lakers team is a lot better is a lot better than the Houston Rockets. And they've shown the reason why they closed out that series. Now, this matchup against OKC. I mentioned SGA. I mentioned Jalen Williams. Now, the big man, totally different as far as guarding purposes for DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton was guarding Alperen Sengun, who does not really shoot the 3-ball well. Okay? He's relying on bailout plays. He's relying on trying to use his elbows, getting the mid-post range, which is why DeAndre Ayton did a solid job. 18 out of 35 Alperen Sengun shot when DeAndre Ayton was guarding him. That's just that's a real stat, and that is really, really good. Now, the difference between the Oklahoma City Thunder's big man compared to the Rockets, which they only had one because Capella did not play majority of that series, is that you got Chet Holmgren, who is another 7-footer, but is able to shoot the 3-ball and take guys off the dribble. Then you got a workhorse, an Isaiah Hartenstein, who his job is to be a force on the rebounds. Hell, there's even plays where you see Isaiah Hartenstein catch it off the rock, doing dribble handoffs. He is a facilitator as well. Very, very active compared to Alperen Sengun. Those 2 big men for OKC are very, very active, and they do a lot with this offense. But even another big thing is that they are going to need production because there's no drop-off with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I know I sound like an OKC homer right now, but there is a reason why they are the number 1 seed. And there is a reason why you look at ESPN.com and you see them putting out their votes as far as what the series is going to look like. Nobody's giving the Lakers a chance at all in this series. Just look at this right here. The Thunder beat the Lakers by an average of 29.3. 29.3 is what this Lakers team's margin was. It's tough. That's really, really tough. And let's keep in mind, though. Now let's keep in mind, and this is where I'm kind of dive in on this. Early on this season, that November 12th game, they were without LeBron James. And this is when the Lakers were still trying to figure out their roster. Lakers were still trying to figure out rotations. Lakers were still trying to figure out all those sorts of things. Remember, this was a Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent was still on this roster. Now, I'm saying that not a shot at Gabe Vincent, only because Luke Kennard has been a big help for this Lakers team. But that was early on in the year. And then on the February 9th, when they matched up with them again, is no Luka Doncic. And it was just LeBron James and Austin Reeves. But Austin Reeves is coming back from an injury. He was on a minutes restriction. So Lakers were missing. They didn't have all the three of their guys playing on the floor. And then you look at that end of April where April 2nd comes. And LeBron did not, who was not suited up. And then you had Luka and Austin Reeves. All right. Well, we already know that storyline. Because Austin Reeves had that oblique strain. They did try to continue to play, forced him to be out for 4 weeks, a month. And you see with Luka Doncic, what happened to him with that hamstring injury, forcing him to be out for the rest of the regular season. And then also missing the first round series against the Houston Rockets, which Lakers still were able to take care of business without Luka. And then they still did not have LeBron James. And in the final game, we already know how that went. There's no need to explain that. Now, on the OKC side, I know they were without Jalen Williams, but just overall, the Lakers did not have all three of their guys playing against the Oklahoma City Thunder throughout this regular season. Now, could that be a big help? Could that be a big difference? Possibly so. Now, we're going to have that same storyline, is that they're not going to have all three of their guys. Because remember, Luka Doncic is still going to be out with his Lakers team. So it's going to be LeBron and Austin Reeves in the mix of Luke Kennard, Rui Hachimura, Marcus Smart, Vanderbilt. And you look at OKC's side. Besides starting five, they get production out of their bench. That's going to be another big difference with this Lakers team. Can they get production from their bench? Can they get solid minutes from Vanderbilt? Can they get solid minutes from Jackson Hayes when subbing in, especially dealing with the OKC duo of Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren? And also dealing with another Jalen Williams, who provides a different look, is able to space the floor out. Can they get those productions from those guys? Hell, can we see more solid? Can we get, Jake Ravens getting to his spots, actually making some layups, actually being able to defend? This is a different type of series, and you can't just rely on missed shots like Lakers are doing against Houston Rockets. They were able to defend. Rockets were able to shoot the ball well. This OKC ball club, they do shoot the ball very, very well. Now, they're not a dominant three-point shooting team. Let's just say that. They were in the middle of the pack when it comes to three-point field goal attempts. This team relies on the free throw line. This team relies on the mid-range. They rely on physicality. And the physicality is what another thing that worries me is, because you look at what JJ Redick said. And JJ Redick saying that the Rockets are a good defensive team. But the Oklahoma City Thunder, that is just their baseline level of defense. So we talk about games 4 and 5 against the Rockets and their ability of the Lakers are trying to match that intensity and trying to match that physicality, and them not coming out ready to play in those games. You cannot have any drop-off whatsoever in this series. And I know it sounds like so much, but these are just all things considering that we have seen from this regular season into now. The Thunder are fresh off of a 4-0 series sweep against Phoenix Suns, which we all expected that. Days in between. There's only 1 day in between each game, meaning 1 day in between for games 1 and 2. And you go into when the Lakers come back at Crypto, 1 day in between for games 3 and 4. And it's just a lot of things that we are seeing. And I see you guys in the YouTube chat. And Brian said, Lakers need every player to play the role. That's the only chance we have. And JF said, OKC is okay offensively. It's their defense that stands out. And before I elaborate more onto this, shout out to Tim, he putting up this graphic, is that Luka Doncic, there's an update. Is that he's getting some shots up. We understand him trying to get back into rhythm. They're going to take their time on this, as they should. They're going to take their time on Luka Doncic and his possibility on returning in this series against OKC. Now, JJ Redick was obviously asked his availability for game 1. No update. We saw the earlier reports from Shams Charania. Shams Charania said that it's expected that Luka Doncic will be missing games 1 and 2 for sure. Now, if his status is going to be available for games 3 and 4, up in the air. But as right now, the availability for Luka Doncic, when Shams Charania put the report out, is that it's expected for him to miss games 1 and 2. Lakers should take their time on him. No need to rush him back. There's no need to grow this injury even more than what it needs to be. Now, to see and to elaborate more on what you guys have said. And by the way, I have my mic a little bit away, so hopefully you guys can hear me better right now. Is that JF said OKC relies on their defense and they rely on getting out in transition. That's why the turnover story is a big, big deal, because we've seen the Rockets and Amin Thompson and guys like that pick up at half court. And as soon as they picked up half court, we've seen that game when Ospreys' return, where the Lakers had a very, very slow start in that third quarter. And that first play is when they had that baseline cut we saw Tari Eason have that baseline cut, and they were able to dunk. And the Lakers had a slow start. But it's the defense that worries me when OKC comes in, is because they are a really, real physical team. And the fact that JJ Redick is saying that the reality of their defense is that whatever moments we felt Houston is pressuring, that is like the maximum amount of pressure they can put on us. So that's OKC's baseline. I'm just telling you right now, Lakers got to find a way in this series not turn the ball over. They got to find a way to rebound. They have to match OKC's physicality. They have to match energy, effort. You cannot come out and have slow starts in this series whatsoever. Each game, you cannot have any slow start. And like Brian said, you have to be able to get more out of your role players. OKC's going to get that out of Isaiah Joe. They're going to get that out of Aaron Wiggins. They're going to get that out of Jalen Williams. Can Jake LaRavia? Can Vanderbilt? Can Luke Kennard? Is he going to be able to find spacing? Is he going to be able to find rhythm? Is he going to be able to get to his spots? All those things considering are real big, and they're a real thing. But to finish off this episode, and I want to kind of talk about the playoffs as a whole. And just real quick, Dodgers for Life says Rui for the series, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 57% from the field, and 52% three-point line. Second leading scorer in the series behind LeBron James. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We did not speak much on Rui Hachimura. Those numbers right there got to be the same heading into that series against OKC Thunder. And we're going to have a lot more breakdown of this. Trust me. I want to give you guys a little bit of film. I want to be able to break down, show you guys different plays, show you guys different looks, give you guys a different perspective and look heading into game one of this series. But just to kind of cap off this episode, and I know you guys are going to love this, seeing what the rest of the playoffs had. The Boston Celtics. Whew, I know you guys are happy about that. I am too. Hell, they were up 3-1 in that series against the Philadelphia 76ers, and the return of Joel Embiid made a huge impact for the Philadelphia 76ers. And we've seen the Boston Celtics go home, losing that series. You had a 3-1 series lead, but like Rachel always says, F Boston. Boston is now out of the playoffs. That was a very, very, very beautiful thing to see. And just to kind of see the rest of the NBA playoffs, as the Sixers will be taking on. They'll be taking on the New York Knicks. We saw the Detroit Pistons. They came back from a 3-1 series lead. By the way, to kind of give you guys a golden nugget. In 2003, the Detroit Pistons were on a 3-1. They were down 3-1 in that series. That was the Orlando Magic. Tracy McGrady, Doc Rivers was the head coach for the Orlando Magic. They gave up a 3-1 series lead, and the Pistons came back. That was with Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, all those guys. Pistons came back from a 3-1 series. They're down 3-1 in that series, and they're pulling out the win. And now they advanced in NBA playoffs as well. And in the Western Conference, we've seen Wemby. They got that match against Anthony Edwards. By the way, the Nuggets, they got a lot of stuff that they're gonna have to figure out, because the fact that they were already down 3-1, and the Timberwolves were without Anthony Edwards. They were down Dante DiVincenzo. You're the Denver Nuggets. You got to find a way to try to win that series when they were without their star player, without one of their main guys. And it's honestly another thing we have to see is that it's good to see the Nuggets out of the damn playoffs as well, because I got tired of seeing them in the playoffs. And to kind of give you guys this last golden nugget, and shout out to Carlo for this. Carlo's my guy.
to kind of end on this as we close down Lakers Talk Daily. And I hope you guys are having a beautiful Monday today. This is a series where this next round, we were going to be without Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. So there's no, just hear me out. In this round 2 matchup, there's going to be no Giannis, no Kawhi, no Jason Tatum, no Kevin Durant, no Steph Curry, or Nikola Jokic. But you know who is in round 2? LeBron James, who everyone thought, can he lead this Lakers team past the first round? And he did, along with the supporting cast of this group. But as we are winding down this episode, man, it's tough. And it's going to be no one is counting this team at all to beat OKC. No one is counting this Lakers team to beat OKC. All those things you saw as far as OKC in 5, Lakers would probably get 1 game. Now, your boy, I'm going to ride with the Lakers on this one. And I'm going to give my early prediction. I think the Lakers can win this series. And I think it's going to go all the way to Game 7. Lakers will win in Game 7. I'm a believer. I am a believer. Now, again, there's totally 2 different things as far as the Rockets and the OKC Thunder. But I'm bought into this team. Lakers in 7. That's right, Brian. Lakers in 7. I will be talking to you guys tomorrow. More breakdown of this OKC Lakers matchup. Game 1, round 2. Good to see the Lakers advance. Their season is alive. We'll see what they can do. And we're going to have more breakdown of this. But for myself, you guys in the YouTube chat, as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And my crew running the operation back there, Tim, Brooke, thank you guys so much. As always, I'll be talking to you guys tomorrow for a more in-depth breakdown of this matchup. As always, have a good rest of your day. We out.
Come on.